Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to yet another fabulous week of English 101. This week we get to start writing and working on our Project 2 essay, which of course we are all just super stoked about. So let's talk about that a little bit more during our quick weekly overview video. If you take a look at our calendar, today we're working on revising and writing and drafting that beautiful essay you're working on. We are going to be doing peer review on Tuesday, so you're going to upload your draft. By Wednesday, you're going to respond to your classmates. You're going to have some time to play with those responses, and then you're going to do one more round of peer review this week. I'm going to upload that on Friday. You're going to get feedback by Saturday. You'll have some time to work on it Sunday, and the final draft of Project 2 is due by midnight on Monday. I know it feels really fast, guys. Compared to our first essay. Our first essay, we were laying a lot of groundwork. We were reading an entire novel. We were doing a bunch of stuff. With this essay, it's a much more streamlined approach to writing. So I want to give you a look at both ways of writing, the longer drawn out form and this more laser focused kind of writing, because you're going to be asked to do both forms potentially in later academic classes. Some folks let you work on an essay for an entire quarter. It's like your capstone for the class, perhaps like a history class. But some classes need you to write faster, like an English 102 or potentially some psychology classes. So we want to make sure that you're equipped to handle whatever your academic journey throws your way. So we're getting practice in both modes here. But I do want to make sure that you have everything you need to be successful. So if we go into our classes and take a look at our modules tab, for this essay, I didn't give you example essays for our Project 1, but for Project 2, I did provide those. So I want to take a look at those real quickly for you here. So everything you need is in Project 2. Hopefully you've watched through all these videos and looked at our trial by media topics list. You've made your proposal of which cases you're interested in. You've selected the one you're going to use. You've read through how trial by media can undermine the courtroom. This is an excellent resource to bring into this essay. Highly, highly, highly recommend you use it as one of your sources, just like you used the Leon Seltzer article in Project 1. And then some other sources that you might find helpful as well. And then when we get into the essay, if you haven't already watched the lecture video on research, outline, and thesis statements, definitely watch that. Those are keys you're going to need to be successful in this project. Highly recommend you follow the outline. That's very important also, because it makes sure that you're hitting all of the marks in the rubric. And the rubric is right here for you. So everything is in a handy dandy location. Signal phrases and summaries. This really helps you introduce your quotes and introduce your ideas in a way that doesn't become repetitive. That's something I found in Project 1. We kind of have a similar way of saying things over and over and over again, which is great for a draft. But as we get into our final versions of the paper, as we try and improve our academic language, we want to make sure that we're varying our structures a little bit more. And then, just because I love y'all, we've got some sample essays to kind of give you an idea where we want to go with this paper. So if you're still struggling, definitely check out the sample essays. These will help you out a lot as we take a look at our essay and what kind of requirements we have. So this particular paper looked at the Shepherd case. We've got a lot of really great context in our introductory paragraph. We've got a great title, really fun way to hook our reader. We acknowledge the Sixth Amendment. We've got some context. We move into our thesis statement where we clearly say the case, whether the Sixth Amendment was violated or not, and how bias might have come into play. So this thesis statement does a very nice job of going over all of that. Then we've got our background, our context paragraph. As we talked about in our recorded lecture on the outline, we don't want our context paragraph to be too big. It's very easy for this to take over the whole essay. Truly, it is just one paragraph. If it gets longer than a page, we need to cut it down because we really want to focus on the analysis and the research as opposed to just like a paper that tells what happened, you know? So we want to have an argument, not just an informative paper. So you've got context, all that's excellent. Do make sure to cite all your context. You didn't know this stuff before you started writing the paper. So that means it came from somewhere else, which means we need to give credit to that somewhere else. From which it came, from whence it came, from whence it came. That's the right way to say that. From whence it came. That sounds so fancy. So do make sure to cite it. Normally you'll find a citation at the end of this context paragraph. This particular student didn't have that and lost points. So do make sure you have a citation that says all this stuff didn't come from your head, it came from somewhere else. And then we move into our argument. A lot of people like to break this essay down by talking about 3 different forms of bias that we addressed in our PowerPoints: word choice bias, information bias, and logical fallacies. The student did a great job organizing using that outline. So we've got some examples of word choice bias in this paragraph, all supported with research. Then we talk a little bit about information bias, and we've got research examples here. And then we talk a little bit about logical fallacies. Once again, researched examples. There should be at least one quote in every single one of your paragraphs, just to show that you've got research to back up your opinions. And then we talk a little bit about the ramifications. What happens if the Sixth Amendment was violated? Is this a problem? We should address that. And what can we take away? How should we change things, etc.? So this addresses the issues very nicely, wraps it all up. And then we've got some movement toward the conclusion where we talk about our strongest points of argument, and then we end with a call to action. If you've ever seen Law and Order or any like criminal show where lawyers make a case, think about the conclusion as like your closing statements to the jury. Your jury is your audience. You are the lawyer making your last impassioned plea that people should believe the thing that you said and should agree with you. And that's what your conclusion should do. It's that last impassioned plea to the jury, which is me and the rest of your classmates who are your audience. And then, of course, make sure you've got a good works cited. The works cited should be alphabetized. It should have this hanging indent, and it all should be in MLA format. The title is works cited because there's more than one, so that is plural. You're going to want to make sure to follow that structure in your essay. So we've got some great examples here. That's just one example. I have 2 others for you linked here, so please check those out. Examples aren't perfect, right? None of these essays are perfect. They all have room for improvement, just as all writing does. When I write something, it definitely has room for improvement, right? And I've been writing professionally for over a decade. So there's always room for improvement. There's always editing. There's always revision. All of these sample essays could be better, but they're pretty solid. So they're good examples. If you're feeling stuck, you're not sure how to transition between ideas, you're not sure how to flesh out an idea, these might be a good resource for you to check out. I do want to caution you, however, though, all of your essays get submitted to the Turnitin software. So don't be tempted to plagiarize. I know I'm talking to the choir here, right? You guys are amazing. You would never think of plagiarizing. But on the off chance that it like flitted through your brain at some weak moment, Turnitin will check everything on the internet, and it also checks every paper that's ever been submitted to CBC. So at least once a quarter, I catch someone who copied their friend's paper from a previous class, and it's very discouraging because they get an F, and I have to report them to student conduct, and then they have to have a meeting with the student conduct officers over plagiarism, and it goes on their transcript, and it's a whole big thing. So like, just don't plagiarize, and we'll all be happy, and we'll all get good grades, and life will be hunky-dory. So come up with your own stuff, but you can use these to inspire you, if you wish. Lots of good resources for you here. I hope you take advantage of them, find them helpful, find them useful as you're writing your excellent work. The last thing I want to call our attention to is the discussions where we will be doing this peer review. So I'm going to grab our peer reviews here. Actually, it might be faster to go through the calendar just because there's so many things to click on. Here we go. So if we go through the calendar, which is my cheat, it's the easiest way to find things. Go in here, you'll find that this process is very similar to our last process. So you're going to download a peer response form. This is different than the Project 1 peer response form. All of the response forms are tailored specifically to each essay, and they're looking for different things in the rubric. So this peer review is going to be different than the one you do on Friday. The questions are different because I want you to look at different things and get your best chance at a really solid grade on this project. So take a look, make sure you upload your draft, respond to a classmate to get full points there, and we'll be off and running. All right, this was a long video. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep them shorter, but we hit 10 minutes today. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Hopefully you had a great Halloween. If you have any questions about the essay, reach out. I'm here to help. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing how your drafting and your peer review process goes. Have a great week, guys.